Hi there. And I actually have something I'm going to share with both classes again, both the DPA class and the IRS class. And I want to talk to you a little bit about me and about you. Uh, I wanted you to know that the way I see my purpose, my role. I've had many different roles over the years, both in management, leadership, executive management, and in consulting. And I've worked for a number of different companies. But everywhere that I worked, every role that I had, I've always seen myself as fulfilling a purpose. You might call it my personal mission. And you see, that happens here at Full Sail because I've taught a number of different classes in the internet marketing program over the years. I've taught in other degree programs, and I've even taught at other universities prior to coming to Full Sail. But yet in each of those instances, no matter what I was teaching or no matter what my job was, whether I was working at Disney or I was working in the jewelry industry, my approach was that I wanted to see other people around me achieve the fullest potential that they could achieve. I wanted them to be successful. Because when I put those people around me and they were successful, that meant that I was successful. One of the ways that I ensured that happened was I always made sure that they were well trained, well developed. But my purpose in life was always to strive for success. Now, so my purpose for you all is to see you be as successful as you can possibly be. And that also means that, you're more than just somebody that does email. You're more than somebody that crunches numbers in a research project. You're more than somebody that puts together a display ad. When you leave this university, when you have your degree and you're out there in the market, you are a leader. And I want you to be as successful as possible when that happens. So let me share with you a few things. Because success is really about who we are, what we communicate, and then what we do. I've actually been reading a couple of books. This is one of my favorites, Trust and Betrayal in the Workplace. And I just sent off a note to somebody where I was talking about betrayal, organizational betrayal. And I want to share with you just a real quick diagram with regard to trust. When we talk about trust, we talk about several forms of trust. We talk about our ability to do things, our competence. That's a trust. Do you have the competence to do what you say? Contractual trust. Will you do what you say you're going to do? How about that? And finally, communications. Can I count on you to communicate what needs to be done? So, communication is the first place that I really want to go here. And I want to make sure that you're thinking about all your communication and you're doing it in a professional manner. So when you have an issue, make sure that you communicate why it's an issue. So set it up. Put some context around it. For the people that are in the IRS class, this sounds a lot like defining the problem. Absolutely. It's real world application. Make sure that when you have an issue, that you communicate all the contextual information around it, and then that you also are offering a solution. Because leaders are not people that just point out holes. They're people that provide solutions. And we're going to talk more about that in a little bit. So, as relates to communication, a couple things in particular. Make sure all your email communication has your contact information on it. It should have an alternate email address, and it should have the phone number where you can be reached at. That's very important. You don't want the person that you're communicating with to have to go searching for how to get a hold of you. Think about it. They may be wanting to offer you a job that pays $100,000 a year, and they got to go find your phone number. You don't want that. Put all that information there. You want to make sure that in social media, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, wherever, that your communications are as professional as possible, that you're communicating with a purpose. You want to make sure that your LinkedIn profile is fully filled out and has a professional slant to it. Do you know that it's over 90% of Fortune 500 recruiters, they start their search for candidates in LinkedIn because the costs are so much less than what the major job boards are like Monster and so forth. So make sure that you have built out your LinkedIn profile, and by the way, that you're active in LinkedIn, because that will provide a great snapshot of who you are to potential employers down the road. Again, make it professional. And on your FSO platform, make sure that you've filled out your profile. Share a little bit who you are. One of the things that I've been doing through these initial videos with each of you is giving you the opportunity to get to know who I am in great detail, because what we're doing is we're eliminating transactional distance. We're making this feel as real as possible, even though we're operating in the virtual world. You want to do that with all people that you interact with. Break down the transactional distance and communicate as much as possible. And so on your FSO platform, make sure that your profile gives some rich detail. Let your instructors know who you are. Now, that brings us to the next thing. I want to talk to you about how I've designed this class, whether it's DPA or IRS. Put a lot of thought into it from a standpoint of instructional design and curriculum design. And you may think, well, wow, you're going to cover everything. No, I'm not. And that's by design. There are going to be gaps. More gaps in the research class than there are in the display advertising class. But part of being a leader is being able to think critically. So there's holes. And that means that you've got to go out and you've got to do some research. You've got to fill the holes. You're expected to go find information that's not provided for you, that's not put on a platter and put right there in front of you. Research, whether you're in a research class, you're in a normal class, or whether you're in a job, is a normal part of every day. And I'm sure you know that, but now we're going to apply it in the classroom setting as well. So you're going to find instances in the curriculum that there are holes, and you're going to have to go do some work. Like I said, in the research class, more than in the display advertising class. So that brings me to something else I want to share with you, and that is what I like to call operating above and below the line. So I look at the world through two lenses. If you're operating below this line, down here, then you're a victim. And that means that you're always going to find yourself unaware of what's going on, blaming other people for what's happening, making excuses, and a lot of times just waiting for the situation to get better. Guess what? If you do that in my classes, you're going to not be happy with the grade. I'm sorry. But on the upside, if you're through the lens that I like to spend most of my time peering through, which is people that are accountable, you will see problems. You'll say, this isn't my problem, but I own it. I'm going to make it better. You're going to find solutions. You're going to go do some research. And you're going to make it happen. You're going to make that solution come to life. By the way, this is where leaders are. This is where people that are successful are. And that's where I want you. So, that's my little fireside chat for the day. Okay, no fire, but that's my little chat for the day. If you want to learn more about that, you can find it in this book called The Oz Principle. And it's written by three good guys, Roger Connors, Tom Smith, and Craig Hickman. It's actually a book on how you design organizations. See, I can design an organization where I create a nanny environment where I put a safety net under everybody, and then we don't do that well. Or I build an organization where there's no limits and people are able to reach their fullest potential. One last quick story, and any of you Kung Fu fans out there, TV series might recognize this as a Kung Fu adage, but it's true. And that is that, you know, when you ask how far a grasshopper will jump, Sometimes they'll jump as much as 10 feet. It's amazing how far a grasshopper will actually jump. But if you take that grasshopper and you put it under a jar, glass jar, it's going to jump and it's going to hit the jar every time. Now, the interesting thing is that when you take that jar away, guess how far it jumps? Just as far as the glass was. It never, ever learns how to jump back to those big distances it was hitting before. In my classes, there's no glass jar. There's no safety net. You're going to make it on your own or you're not. I want you to make it on your own. I want you to be a person accountable. I don't want you to be a person that's a victim. That's all I got for you. My number, if you need to talk to me, 407-267-8600. This is John Reneski, and you are going to have a wonderful month. Take care.